Hello people of the internet, Jay Davis, the Gaming Gaijin here with a follow-up video to my previous one, the April Retro Game Treasure unboxing. Now this is going to be kind of a review of the individual games that were in the box, as well as my thoughts on the box as a whole, and also just going to go over some comments I got on the last video. So let's dig in. I'll put annotations down below with timestamps to each game, in case you want to skip ahead, you don't want to watch all the individual game reviews. As well as where I go over the individual stuff, or the stuff as a whole. So, without further ado, going through in the order I pulled them out last time. First one is Yu Yu Hakusho Spirit Detective. This game is crap. Crap. I was hoping it wouldn't be. I had seen footage of this game before. I don't remember if it was a review or if it was one of my friends playing it or something. I was really hoping it wasn't the Yu Yu Hakusho game, that's kind of a tongue twister, that I did know about, but it was. It's like an isometric beat-em-up game. The graphics are terrible. Like, the backgrounds are just kind of bland and garbage, and then the characters are like these pre-rendered CG models that they almost look like the characters from the original couple Fallout games, but way less detailed, if that makes any sense. And you're just going around beating people up, and like there are way better beat 'em up games on the Game Boy Advance. They're like River City Ransom EX, Final Fight 1, TMNT, like, and there's another Yu Yu Hakusho game on the Game Boy Advance once I looked into it called Tournament Tactics. That's like a tactical RPG. Can't speak clearly today, I'm sorry. It didn't get great reviews either, but way better than this game. This game's garbage. It's like, it feels like a 2002 browser game more than a 2003 Game Boy Advance game. So yeah, avoid this one at all costs. It's just terrible. I don't even care where it landed. When I looked it up, it was going about $1 to $5 on eBay. I'd average it about $3, whatever. It's not worth $3. Even if you're a really big fan of Yu Yu Hakusho, probably better off getting the other Game Boy Advance game or the PS2 game, or if you don't mind the language barrier, getting one of the mini Yu Yu Hakusho games that came out in Japan that did not make it over here. But that one was garbage. So, absolute, just don't. Next up is Goro Densetsu Shukumei no Tatakai, or Fatal Fury, as we know it in America. This was the one that I had no idea. Well, I had some idea what it was, because I knew it was an SNK fighting game. But that was the limit of what I knew when I recorded the previous video. Here's the thing. Fatal Fury, this is the first Fatal Fury. Not, like, eventually, once the series really got going. The first Fatal Fury is a little clunkier compared to the later ones, and especially compared to like King of Fighters and everything, when SNK really had gotten in the groove of fighting games. It was kind of the start of that. And the Super Nintendo port is clunkier still. Just really, I've got the Fatal Fury Battle Archives Volume 1 on PlayStation 2, which is an actual port of the arcade game. This is not so good. And like I said before, this was outsourced to Takara, who did a lot of the console ports of SNK stuff back in the day. And it's just, it's a lesser version of Fatal Fury. So, it's alright. I mean, if I was really into Fatal Fury, which I'm really more of a Street Fighter guy when it comes to fighting games, I'm all about Street Fighter. If I was really into Fatal Fury, this might have been okay, but like I have a better version. I have the actual arcade version on PS2. So, I'm probably going to try to see if one of the places in Oklahoma City will take this in as trade-in. I'm kind of limited on where I can trade stuff in here. And I don't think I can get away with trading in a Super Famicom game locally, but I don't know. I'm definitely going to trade in that Yu Yu Hakusho game. That was garbage. This one I might trade in, or I might try keeping it. I don't know. But I mean, it's an all right game. It's just not great. So, moving along. Oh, that one. What did I say when I looked at eBay? $7 about on eBay. The actual American version goes for about $10. Japanese version was on eBay about $7. So if you're really looking for Fatal Fury and you don't like, there's like no language barrier playing the Japanese version. As long as you don't feel like you don't mind breaking out the couple tabs in your Super Nintendo so you can play Japanese games, just go ahead and get this Japanese version. But again, better off getting like the Battle Archives on PS2, or I'm sure it's on the Virtual Console on the Wii, or just something. Just Super Nintendo version is just not quite as good. Next up, the gem of this box, in my opinion, To the Earth on NES. This turned out to be a Zapper game. Probably the hardest light gun game I've ever played, honestly. It's all done from like a cockpit view, and the spaceship, there's the whole story about the Earth's under attack, and it's been hit with a biological weapon of some sort of engineered disease, and one of the bases on another planet in the solar system has figured out a cure to the disease, and your mission is to go to that planet and get the cure and bring that to Earth or whatever. But it's all done like from a spaceship cockpit view, and you've got these spaceships flying at you, all whoa, and dropping bombs and stuff, and you've got to shoot them, but they go super fast. The hitboxes on them, which you can see on an NES Zapper game because it always flashes the screen, are really tight, and like they're really small when they're far away, so until they get like right up on you, you're not going to hardly hit them anyway. And you actually lose health when you miss. And some of the ships on like the first mission don't even shoot at you, they just fly by. So you're almost better off just letting them fly by, but then they start dropping bombs, and you can kind of shoot the bombs, but the bombs go really quick. It's all like I can hit every single duck on Duck Hunt, no problem. This game, I was getting like 20% accuracy every time. Super hard game, but actually really good. I would recommend this if you're into light gun games. It was going about $5 to $10 on eBay. But yeah, To the Earth. This one especially took me a while to get to because I had to get my actual NES out and hook it up. Usually I use the Retron 5 to play most of my games just out of convenience, but obviously you're not going to work with a Zapper game. But this one was actually pretty good. And last up was JetMoto on the PS1. I had not played this before. I thought I might have. I might have played one of the sequels. I played some sort of jet ski game on the PS1 at one point that a friend had. It's actually, I like racing games from this era, and I liked this one. It wasn't anything too complicated. It is super early PS1 game. What's the date on this? Copyright 1997, so pretty early on. Does not have analog controls. It's all digital. They kind of compensated with that. You can use the default controls. L1 or R1 makes you turn tighter than just regular turning. So that's how they got around not actually having analog controls. And then also a lot of the corners, if they're a really tight corner, will have like this energy beam beacon, not a beacon, but energy pillar thing that when you go past it, you can shoot out like a grappling beam to, like, this is your jet ski thing, this is the beam, and you go grapple, whoop. So it kind of helps pull you around. It's a really interesting thing. I actually really liked it once I played it a couple of races. At first I was doing terrible. It's also got some really interesting thing where, like, there's a lot of licensing stuff in this game. Like, there's one of the racers is all duded out in, like, Mountain Dew stuff. Another one's dressed in, like, Butterfingers. And, like, there's, like, Pepsi and Nestle Crunch billboards and all kinds of licensing, like, advertisement stuff in the game, which is odd. But, 90s, early 3D racing game, I'm really into those. I like San Francisco Rush and Extreme G and all that kind of stuff. So I liked this game. Obviously, it's kind of a budget game. It was like $5 on eBay average, and this is the greatest hits version. So a lot of people aren't as into the greatest hits green banner on the PS1 games. There would be like the black. But you know what? I enjoyed this game. So I found it I'm definitely keeping this and the To the Earth. Like I said, I might not keep that Fatal Fury just because I've got a better version of it. I'm definitely not keeping the Yu Yu Hakusho because it was garbage. But, yeah, not a bad game. So, what are my feelings on the box as a whole? Yeah, there was also Pogs. The Pogs are still in here. I don't really care about the Pogs. They were neat. But, not really something I care about. So, my feelings on the box as a whole. It wasn't really, like I said, one game was really good. Another game was pretty good. One that was all right, but I have a better version of the same game, and then one game that was garbage. So, like, kind of a meh box as far as the actual quality of the games. Like some good and then some garbage. Kind of averages out in the meh area to me. Value, like I said, was like totaled about 20, maybe like if you went on the high end on what I saw on eBay, you could add like maybe $7 more, like 20, $25 worth of games. Not what they say on the website on Retro Game Treasure is like average $30 per box. This was not a $30 box. This was much lower than that, which is part of why I'm not judging the whole service on a single box. I'm going to go 3 boxes in before I try to make a judgment call on, okay, do I want to continue this? What do I want to do? I will have a video to review my thoughts on the service once I've got 3 boxes in. But yeah, this box kind of not that great. Okay, I need a drink of water now because I'm sorry. Like I said, I was under the video. I was under the weather when I shot the last video. I'm still not completely good again. But comment on my previous video that I wanted to address. It was by Ian Bryson. Said, would have appreciated a more honest review. These games are ass and pretty low value. Why would anyone subscribe to the service when they could spend the same amount of money on more/better games? And well, Ian, I don't disagree with you. This box was ass. Well, not ass. I wouldn't say it was. Like there was a couple of good games in it, and one real stinker, and one kind of. But like I just said, I'm planning to give. I don't really want to judge my opinion on the service on just one box, because it's randomized what games you get. Sometimes you're going to get a box that's full of not very good games, and sometimes you might get a box that's full of real, just everything in there's gold. That's the chance you take. And I'm not going to judge the service on a whole on just one bad experience. As for why would anybody subscribe to the service when they could spend the same amount of money on more better games? Obviously, you can go through, if there's specific games you want, just go online, go to your local retro game store if you've got one, and buy the games you want. Some people, I already have a pretty big library. I've got most of the games that I know that I want already, except for the games that I know are going to cost me a lot of money, and I'm kind of waiting off on those. But like I've got all the Mario games I want. I got the Earthbound. I've got games. Sometimes I just want a surprise, you know? Some people like me, like, I want to get a box with some games I'm not already familiar with and put them in the system, and hey, yeah, sure, sometimes I'm going to get a Yu Yu Hakusho Spirit Detective and it's going to be garbage, and I'll just trade it in towards something else. But other times, I'll get a game like To the Earth, which I didn't know about, and turns out to be a really good Zapper game on the NES. There's also the issue, like, I'm in a small town in Oklahoma. We've got 2 stores that deal in retro. Well, if you count the pawn shops, then you get more, the numbers raised, but the pawn shops have garbage in garbage quality. Like, oh, sure, you can go to a pawn shop, you might find a good game like Kirby's Adventure. Like, I got my Kirby's Adventure in a pawn shop, and it had bits of candy stuck to it. So, pawn shops aren't ideal. But other than pawn shops, we've got 2 stores that deal in retro games, one of which, that's like not even a thing that they really care about. It's like one shelf, and it's never got anything on it. Just like Genesis Sports Games. And the other, it's actually a significant part of their business, and they're great. I love them, and I go there all the time, but I mostly see the same stuff all the time. They're getting more trade-ins on the newer games, honestly, than they do on the retro games. My glasses are crooked. And they don't do anything Sega because there's just not a market for it here in town. People do go in there and they buy Super Nintendo and stuff. They've tried carrying Sega, and it just sat on the shelf for months and months and months, and then they finally threw it up on eBay and got rid of it. So they don't do Sega stuff. I am more of I grew up as a Nintendo fanboy, but I do have Sega systems, and I'd like some Sega games every now and then. And usually my only options on that are either going online, in which case you don't really know what you're getting anyway, and you know sometimes you order something online and it's like, here's the picture and it's this really good looking game, and then you get it and like the label's half off because they just used a stock photo on their listing. And just like my other option is to take trips to Oklahoma City and go to their retro stores, which I'll do every so often, but I can't justify that all the time. So this is a service where obviously I didn't get any Sega games this month, but I could get some Sega games. And in fact, what I'm planning to do for my third box is actually go through and on my options on their website, go through and say, you know, don't send me any in Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, etc. Just send me like Sega Genesis. Actually, I mean, I don't even know if I want to put Genesis in there, but like Sega CD, Sega Dreamcast, Master System, the systems that I really have a hard time getting a hold of locally, and kind of focus that box on those systems. But that's my personal reason for wanting to try out this box. I'd been holding off prior to when they recently added the disc systems. They used to just be the cartridge-based systems, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, Genesis, Master System, and there wasn't as much in it for me at that point. Like, I do love those systems, but I'm looking at a wall of NES cartridges you can't see off in that direction. I've got a ton of Super Nintendo cartridges already. Like, I've got plenty of games for those systems, and this is a way for me to get games for systems that I don't already have, that I'm not super familiar with. Like, I grew up on the Super Nintendo. I pretty much know Super Nintendo games. Sega Genesis, it's like I know Sonic, I know Vector Man, I know Phantasy Star, and I've got those. So I don't know some of the hidden gems for the Genesis. And like, I can go online and I can read about like, oh, this game's really good. Oh, Herzog's Y is really good. So I bought Herzog's Y. And Herzog's Y is a good game. But sometimes you just want to get a surprise. You don't always want to know what you're getting. And sure, this box, I did not get my money's worth for this box. Hopefully I will get my money's worth on the next couple boxes. If not, then I'll stop using this service. There are some other services that are similar to this. I might try one of those at one point. But I wanted to try this one first. I do, admittedly, it's a bit of it's completely irrelevant, but I'm a huge A Link to the Past fan. The fact that this comes in a Link to the Past style treasure chest decorated box it gives me right in the feels, okay? So, I wouldn't say that this selection was ass again, like Ian did, but it definitely wasn't my money's worth in this box, and yeah, I'm just hoping the next couple boxes will be better. If not, then I'll end my subscription there, and that'll be that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the box. Yeah, this is still not a review of the service yet. Like I said, that's going to come in a couple months. Well, a month, a little over a month at this point, because I know the second box is already on its way to me in the mail. So expect an unboxing of that one soon, and expect me not to give a review on those games in that unboxing either, because I want to play them before I don't know why he expected me to review the games as I pulled them out of the box. I don't get that one. Because I don't know what they are when I pull them out, unless it's something like really obvious. But yeah, that was my review. That was my overview of my first retro game treasure box, and how that I've actually had a chance to play the games. I'm open to any other opinions, any other comments. Obviously, I realized I probably came off a little negative on Ian's comment, but again, he was kind of. It was a little reactionary with him being like, "Oh, I would appreciate something more honest." Like, I was being honest. I don't know what the games are when I pull them out of a box. Unless, like, oh, if I open it up and I'm like, oh, here's Super Mario World. I love this game. I've got like 3 freaking copies of it. That's not going to happen because I've already told them I own Super Mario World. You know? And I'm not expecting to get something like, obviously I've got Earthbound. I've got Super Mario RPG. I'm not expecting to open up a box and have, like, Crusader of Sinti in it on a box that I paid $30-40 for. You know, you're going to get some of these lower dollar games. Not like, sure, if I open the next box and I have Crusader of Sentient, I'm going to be friggin' ecstatic, but it's not going to happen. So I don't know. That's it for today. That's my thoughts. That's my views. See you soon with the unboxing of Maze Box, and have a great day. All that stuff. See y'all later. Well, I won't see you. You'll see me later. Bye.